The first news, the coach is doing okay. How's the coach doing? The broken toe, big toe is broken. So we're taking note, but still welcome. We got a home game tomorrow at 3:30 against Mainz. So let's start with the questions. Mr. Tuchel, I have to ask a question. You're a very active coach on the sideline. You couldn't stand too long against Lazio with that toe. How is it going to be with against Mainz? Are you going to sit on the aluminum box? Well, if I want to sit on the line, I'm probably going to need a box, but it's better from day to day, so I try to find a solution tomorrow with a more stable shoe. Maybe that will work for the duration of a game, but I've coached enough games in my career sitting down, so it's not a problem. It worked against Lazio, so we'll find a solution. How much does that actually hinder you during the practice sessions? And how is your hope after the victory against Lazio that you're not going to lose the tension as a team? Well, the hope is always there because victories help, results, and the way we went about things should have given us bravery and trust. We don't want to rate games or the importance of games and make differences about it. If you've done the shirt of Bayern Munich, there's only performance that counts, and same for tomorrow. We're going to expect the maximum from us tomorrow, and obviously we hope that the last two home games, and particularly the games against Lazio, will give us the extra amount of safety and trust to get another victory. As far as practice is concerned, we had enough sessions where my coaches were leading the charge, and it's been a couple of days, and so I can at least walk without pain. So that's why I'm going to be with the team on the pitch, and for an hour and a half, it shouldn't be a problem. So I'm not going to pass the ball. I'm not going to be too active within the drill in the next weeks, but it shouldn't cost us any quality. Mr. Tuchel, after the press conference against Lazio, didn't want to talk about the Bundesliga, but you were mentioning that the deficit against Leverkusen is rather big. Do you still have the goal of the championship? Well, yeah, I haven't given it up completely, but there is something in between giving up and making a challenge, and that's the reality. And so it's up to you how you're going to report on that. If I promise you we're going to be a champion, then you're going to say I lost the sense of reality. But when I tell you that the difference is rather big, then it's probably realistic for us. It's most important to become stable and find a new stability, which is the big point for us, unfortunately, for quite a while now. But it's about the next step, and it doesn't make any sense to actually talk about goals in that championship. We have to win and win and win. It's not in our hands. And the points that we were conceding in the last couple of games, particularly after that Leverkusen games, made the situation really difficult because Leverkusen doesn't feel us breathing down their necks. So we have to accept that, but it still keeps us having to give 100% tomorrow, stand up pedal, and that's what we're going to do. Serge Gnabry was coming back against Lazio for a couple of minutes. How did you see him in the last couple of weeks? What do you expect from him, and what role can he play in the last couple of weeks? Well, I've only experienced him a week, and then he played because on the other weeks he was practicing individually, so it was a really long layoff. And ahead of that break, he had a long layoff as well, so it's quite an amount of games he missed. But at the end of the last season, he was very important for us. He scored extremely important goals. And at the start of this season, in the preseason, at the start of the season, he was very important, very strong, very important factor. And now we have to see. I don't think it makes a huge amount of sense to put him under pressure, because it's going to take a while. And we're going to see sometimes after an injury, you really find your form quickly, and then you fall into a dip. Sometimes it takes longer. We don't know that. We have given him time in order to show him and give him the feel of playing a game, in order as an incentive after that long practice that he had individually. And I hope that we will be able to give him more minutes, and he will be a decisive factor in the games like he was in the past. The other wingers, how are they doing? Is Sané at 100%, or is he still hurting? When are you expecting Coman back? And how do you see Brian Zaragoza? What is he missing to get more minutes? Well, Brian, he needs the language. It's difficult in German or English. And we were acquiring him early to win some time, because we didn't know for how long Kingsley and Serge will be missed. And it was just to make sure that we have him. We knew that this was a huge step for him, and we feel this. We see his quality, but we still feel that the integrational part hasn't finished yet because of the language barrier. And that's why Brian gets more time. It's too early to have a verdict. He's still in line, and with Coman, we'll expect him back after the international break, if everything goes according to plan. And Serge, he's been out for a month, and Kingsley, those are key players that we have been missing, particularly in fighting for the spots. And we're happy when they are back, and hopefully none other will get injured in the meantime. And Leroy, well, I expect him to be ready. I haven't heard anything differently. Leroy played hurt in the past, and you've seen that, and that was part of the game, because we don't have the chance at this time to wait for the traffic lights to get green, as in I'm completely free of pain, and I can stop, I can turn whatever I want. That's not going to happen in a week or in a couple of games. He's a player with a high pain threshold that plays in a situation when others wouldn't be able to play, and so I expect him to start. Even though he's suspended tomorrow, a question about Pavlovic. There's been a lot of praise to him. His passing accuracy was 94%, which is really good for a young player like him. How happy are you with a player that is developing the way he does? Well, I'm really happy for him, because from the first practice session, he was smiling, and he was always positive in practice. And he always showed what a nice person he is, apart from his footballing abilities, and how thankful he was. And you can see this childish happiness with him to be on the training pitch, and it really helps that his self-confidence comes through his playing, and he's always been playing that way, and you cannot really tell whether he will be able to show that in a competitive situation under pressure as well. But we've seen it in practice sessions, and he is a very nice guy to this day, and a top fellow player to the others. He's given energy every day. And he's really someone that you want to have around, and those are the things, and it's so good to see him having the same quality and same mood in games as well, no matter who the opponent is, no matter whether it's a cup game, a league game, or the Champions League. So he deserved his place, and it's a big compliment to him. Fitting to that, Pavlovic is suspended. How do you plan at the position number 6 with Leimer or Kimmich, and how do you see Kimmich in his fullback position? There have been some ups and downs with him. Yes, obviously, but I'm not sure whether it really makes sense to switch the back 4. Or whether we should just keep it that way because it worked out nicely, whether we'll have another right back. Sasha is back in practice, but he's not at 100%. News doesn't make the steps forward that we were hoping for. He's not going to be in the squad, and I don't know whether we should put in another right back, even though Connie played in that position as well. But we'll see. We haven't made the decision yet. We can play Connie in midfield, or we can make that switch. The tendency is more towards playing Connie in midfield, but I haven't made the decision yet. And Kimmich in the past couple of games, yeah, it's like you said, against Lazio it was good, and I hope that he will be adding to that performance. But it's unfortunately showing the way his season was. I still believe he has great abilities, and he's showing that in practice on an extremely high level. And I maybe thought that it would help him to play more freely on the side, on the wing, which he did against Leipzig, against Lazio. And I hope that he will be adding to that, and that he feels that as a right back, he has a bit more freedom in possession than in central defense. So everything is okay against Freiburg. It was as complicated for him as it was for our team. A couple of more questions. How did you see the team after entering the quarterfinal? Is the mood more positive? Yes, obviously, and everything else would be a big surprise. We were talking about the game together, and we showed that we had a really good team performance, that it was necessary, but we were disciplined, and we were in the order, and we were exactly doing what we planned to do. The mood was good. The mood was good right now as well, because this is the least goal that you have, the quarterfinal of the Champions League at Bayern Munich, and you could feel that everybody had this goal, and whether the players or the coaches, and if you make that step into the quarterfinals, you feel the weight lifted off your shoulder after reaching that goal, and this was good for us, and so the mood was positive, and so we hope that we have a good final practice session today and play with the same energy tomorrow. The question on the other side, Joshua Kimmich and Leimer, we were talking to that already. How is Rafael Guerreiro doing, and Alphonso Davies? Whom are you favoring? Well, Rafa played the last couple of games, and he was a very important part in two very important home wins against two important, difficult opponents. Fonzie also has the qualities to start for us. Rafa is a bit more flexible. He can play at the 8, at the 10 position. Rafa played a lot. Fonzie is ready. He had 2 short stints, and that's the way it should be, that not every player that comes off an injury has to start again. It is the only alternative on a particular position, and that helps us, even though those call for tough decisions. But I think it helps us if we have some fights for places on a sportingly basis. So players have to fight for the place in the starting 11. It's good to have Fonzie back. We'll have to wait for the data of Rafa in the last couple of games, because he had been injured as well, and whether we should make a switch. But both are, as of now, ready to start, and we'll wait till the final minute before we make the decision. One more question. Against Freiburg in the second half and against Lazio, over those 90 minutes you were playing with sort of a mobile back three with Goretzka back in that three in possession. Is that something you plan to use in the next games as well? And how do you see Goretzka, who likes to play even a bit further forward? Yes, but he's doing a good job building up play from the back three. He's playing really clearly. He has a good, hard passing game. He is brave enough to play through those small gaps. He has a bit more time to open up play. He does it in a very disciplined manner and a high level, and that's what we did in the last two games. Very flexible with Leon, but that fitted to the two opponents that we have. We expect Mainz to play with a back five who are gonna mirror our positioning, so we haven't decided that yet. But the players, they have the power to decide themselves, and it depends whether the opponent plays with one striker or two strikers and how they line up. So we wanted to get better angles with those three at the back in the build-up, but against Lazio it was important to have Leon in midfield, defending against the counter-attack. He had a really good game, a very important role, and so I expect, or I think that we need to have those things up our sleeves, even though it might only be a small advantage to be more stable in possession and defend against counters. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow at the arena.